Can people accurately guess other people's IQ based on first impressions? Let's find out. So there's a video that's been circulating recently, and it's called Strangers Rank Their Intelligence, IQ versus First Impressions. It was posted about 2 months ago by Jubilee, but I've only recently been seeing it this last week or so. I'm not gonna make guesses on what I think the answer is going to be. I haven't watched the video. They first get a group of people together. On first impressions, they rank each other from, I think it's like 1 through 6. They actually have them take an IQ test, and I have a bit of pre-knowledge of how the ranking went, so I'm not going to be making guesses because it is unfair. I just thought I would do this kind of reaction video and see how it goes. All right, so let's get this video started.
Ready?
3, 2,
go.
I wasn't planning to go to college. That wasn't like a goal of mine. My parents were like, well, you should apply to at least one college. And I was like, we'll never get in here. And then I went to Yale.
All right, had him take the IQ test beforehand. I think I didn't get the chance to read all of it. At least 6.
Should we just
Number
like go
one.
down and do
Intros.
Yeah, I'm Sade. I'm 24. I work in finance. I have a bachelor's degree. I went to Yale.
I'm Tyler. I'm 21. I'm a high school graduate, and I work in the Marine Corps.
I'm Kaylee. I'm 25. I'm a software developer. I went to Ohio University, and I have a bachelor's degree.
Maria, I'm 30 years old. I have my PhD in cancer biology, and I work in a biotech industry. Grad school, I went to University of South Carolina, and undergrad, I went to University of Florida.
Hi everybody, my name is Sean. I'm 27. I'm the director of social media for a company, and I also work for a digital ad agency. I got a double major in dance and cultural anthropology. Undergrad, I went to Loyola Marymount University.
Hi everybody, I'm Ray. I'm 24. I graduated with a bachelor's degree from Harvard recently, and I work in consulting.
Oh, younger babies.
I know,
that's what I was saying, is age of actor?
Yeah, it gives you like years of experience.
Yeah,
in
like
life.
We need maybe it's good to identify what intelligence means to everybody.
I think intelligence is better defined as your adaptability and your problem-solving skills more than it is your education. Obviously, like the education, the stuff you've been through puts a lot into play in it because it gives you more resources, more thoughts to draw from. The formal education definitely helps, but I don't think it's in any way essential.
So what is the most essential?
I'd say the most essential thing would probably be common sense.
I would say I agree with that. I would agree with him based on just your practical problem-solving skills, but it's more based on like how your own mind works, if that makes sense.
For me personally, I think intelligence is both EQ, IQ, and that common sense, street smart intelligence, all of that combined.
People consciously or unconsciously, when they see someone, form an opinion immediately. Like I'm sure we all did right away.
When I saw you, I told myself, Maria, do not judge him just by his looks. He could be throwing you off, or that's just who he is, but he can talk the talk and walk the walk. Sean, I didn't want to judge him based on the way he looks or dresses or acts, so I was like, I think he's intelligent.
First impressions, I would put him at the bottom only because when I was in school, all the other people with like the bright neon colors and stuff, they were typically the ones doing worse in classes. If we were ranking confidence, I'd definitely put Sean at very first place.
So what is the definition that we're going with is the biggest question.
I like your definition.
I know, I was gonna say, I like my definition. It combines everything.
Does anyone have any like initial?
You can be honest.
Start on that side. I'm done going first.
I feel like I have a good combination of both, like book smart and street smart. So yeah, I think I have some input on that. There's so many aspects to intelligence. It really goes beyond IQ and EQ. Even those two different factors really don't really capture what it really means to be intelligent.
I know I'm not, from Yale, I don't have a PhD, but what I lack in those areas, I'm able to still problem solve and use my own skill set, my emotional intelligence as well as my social intelligence.
Besides my education and background, I feel like I have high emotional intelligence, like I'm aware of my surroundings.
As a software developer, my problem-solving skills are obviously top-notch, I think I would say. My whole life, I've kind of had to fight to be seen as intelligent. I think I'm so used to having to do that as a woman, to just step up and be like, I deserve to be here. My first job out of college, I was working at a law firm. A gentleman came up to me and said, hi, you don't look like somebody that would work at a law firm. You look like somebody I'd go on spring break with. And I'm like, What?
Obviously, out of everyone here, I've got the least formal education. I consider myself intelligent. My mental dedication and my ability to adapt and to problem solve. What I do in the Marine Corps, I'm a seabird defense specialist. So I think that by virtue of what I do, that already requires some amount of intelligence.
Sorry, quick question. So do you think that only certain people can do your job, or do you think anyone can do your job?
Only certain people. You have to take the ASVAB before you go into the military. That's not really how much you know, but how well you can learn information. And I got a 94 on that. It's not an amount of how much you study, how much you know. You're not gonna really get better at learning. Does that make sense?
I strongly disagree with you don't get better at learning. The idea that you can get better at learning is a pretty big signifier of intelligence. I'm very much dyslexic. I have ADHD, and I'm on the autism spectrum. Dyslexia means that there's a big gap in comprehension. So I was scoring 99th percentile in certain areas and like 3rd percentile in others. I'll never be able to learn another language. I took Spanish for 12 years, and I can still basically only order a burrito.
So I have a question. Why did you go to Yale, and why did you go to Harvard?
My parents are immigrants from China, and I'm a first-generation immigrant as well, and college student as well. My family always really stressed the importance of formal education. For me, that was something that I really strived for.
I wasn't planning to go to college. That wasn't like a goal of mine. My parents were like, well, you should apply to at least one college. And I was like, I'll never get in here. And then I went to Yale.
Why don't you guys rank each other from 1 to 6, including yourself, and give reasons why you want to do what you're doing?
Gotta go 1.
No.
Oh yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would rank you as a 6, not meaning that you're not intelligent. I also think that I don't place a lot of value on the military.
Hold on. Okay, so she just put herself right in the middle. I'm not sure if I really have any so much comment because things go by like one after the other. It's like fast.
Period.
No, yeah, full stop.
I'd probably do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry.
Oof. That's rough. He got labeled 6. And then he put himself right in the middle. She put herself in the middle. So did he.
I'm sorry.
I'm the villain this episode.
Does anyone think they're like either end of the spectrum?
I'd say I'm 1, if nothing else, because I know what I'm about and I'm sure of that.
Wait, you guys have to rank everyone too. That is so unfair. No.
I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's hard for me to look past the education part. Going to college, I think you learn a lot, if nothing else emotionally, but I still think you're smart.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, immigrant parents, first generation going to college, humble, modest. 2, me, I don't know, PhD, cancer biology scientist. I work in a biotech company. We make COVID-19 testing kits, stuff like that. And then 6. It has nothing to do with your background. I don't think you really have the highest EQ out of all of us. Tyler, he ranked last for me personally because the way he carries himself. He was ranking intelligence based on his point of view and not taking in other people's point of views and compiling results. But really just came down to his body language, his demeanor, the way he carried himself, the way he acted towards the group.
I would put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out 6. So the reason why I put you at number 1 is I think you have the highest, not only EQ score out of everybody, but the way you present yourself, as well as being a PhD student, I think is just like a huge thing. And I put myself 6 because I feel like I might be the weakest in terms of actual IQ score. Hopefully I can make it up as everything else. So I did put myself as least intelligent. However, if it can't be me, I definitely think Tyler, unfortunately, his way of thinking is linear. And I think intelligence is almost like a sphere. It's a picture. And right now he's only coloring with one color than, with the rainbow.
So who got the most number 1s? Thank you. Move down.
Who got the most?
Sean Hay was
like
pretty
you.
up there too.
I feel like you were definitely 3, right?
Yeah, I'm between
You were
Harvard and
4.
Yale.
5.
I think that I sort of expected to be ranked a little bit lower. At first glance and first interaction with me, it's hard to tell how intelligent I am. It's hard to tell how intelligent anybody is.
Is anyone upset with where they're standing?
I think it makes sense that I'm down here. Like the guy who graduated from high school and then joined the military, he probably wouldn't be like high up on there. If I was in their shoes, I definitely would have also ranked myself among the lowest.
I do feel like there might be a prejudice acting in terms of ranking you
Okay, I was thinking that
highly,
too.
but I agree with the ranking. I think you probably are the most intelligent out of all of us. I would feel weird placing you there and not acknowledging the dynamics in which we did so.
Because I feel like a lot of their judgment came from experience, and that's why they kind of put themselves there. But they would also acknowledge the way you learn things versus the way your mind works in problem solving. Yet, just because he was confident in his problem solving abilities and didn't agree with that school is what ranks people's IQ, they like put him last. Plus, yeah, he's military and doesn't have a ton of accomplishments. Anyway, let's see. Now they take the IQ test.
Hearing that I had to take an IQ test was definitely hard to hear. Quantifying things for me in that realm is really hard because it gives you something really solid. Even if you don't buy into IQ tests, it still gives you a number at the end of the day, which is something you have to grapple with.
I literally thought when you said to open the computer, we're going to look at social media, that I didn't think an IQ test would be part of it.
It was kind of expected. We're being ranked by intelligence, an IQ test. It's not that far out the realm of possibility.
So number 1 is Raymond. Number 2 would be Kaylee. Number 3 will be Tyler. And number 4 would be Shada. Number 5 is Sean, and number 6 is Maria.
Get wrecked. So to hold an IQ test right after ranking everybody, because it's like being called out, it's like, yeah, it's to be expected. Yep. Wait, group ranking. So yeah, everybody rated him in last. You rated third. Accurate. That's pretty accurate.
I think an IQ test tests something. I don't think it's intelligence. It's definitely testing something. IQ tests are now known to be flawed and based on incorrect sample sizes. I have really severe dyslexia. There's 2 questions on that test that I automatically basically can't answer.
I mean, that's part of the testing, though, how your mind works, no matter what you have going on with you health-wise. So
Studied for an IQ test, you would do a lot better.
he says, if you studied for it, but that's kind of the point, is that you didn't study for it. It's in the moment. Problem-solving skills in that moment versus prepping for a test, just because that's also learning. The more you do learn, you can increase your IQ.
IQ tests are just one aspect or one way to measure intelligence. It's really on a spectrum what constitutes somebody as intelligent.
Before this, all I knew about IQ tests is that they existed, and the I stands for intelligence. I've never looked into IQ tests before. Coming here today, them saying the EQ, that was the first time I've ever heard that term in my life.
Coming back to intelligence, it's not just your IQ, it's your EQ, it's your common sense, it's street smarts. Sure, it is some type of metric, similar to an SAT and ACT score is a metric for getting into college, but there's more to that person than that test.
I'm actually excited I wasn't last because I thought I was gonna be last, not gonna lie. I think an IQ test is a good indicator to see how people handle pressure, but I think that's easier to make sense in our heads that, oh, you're smart and you're not smart.
Definitely don't think it's the best metric. I've been exposed to tests like these probably more than most people here. That already gives me an unfair advantage.
This is my villain redemption arc and climbing up the ladder.
Alrighty. So let's answer the question, can you accurately judge someone's IQ based on first impressions? No. I think that an IQ test is a good impartial way of measuring somebody's IQ, but obviously it isn't the most accurate because there's too many aspects that you'd have to take into consideration. How the person's problem solving skills are, book smarts, street smarts, Everybody has their own opinion on what makes up somebody's intelligence. When another person tries to measure that, not everybody accepts the answer to it. It was kind of nice seeing some karma happening. I'm just glad I wasn't up there, and I am not as smart as any of these other people. Like, not even close. Very small brain. Small brain time. For me, IQ would be able to accurately express yourself. That's very much simplifying it. And if you're open-minded. Anyway, that's my thought for your penny. Now it is big brain time. Please leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys thought. And don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe.